Suppose you want to measure the temperature of this moving particle, where it is affected by its distance between this stationary heat source. In the initial setup, the distance between them is 2. Let us now add the y-axis which tracks the temperature of this particle, as this particle moves towards the heat source. As this particle moves closer to the coordinates of the heat source, which is 2, 0, you can notice its rising temperature. And the objective is you want to measure the temperature of this particle when x is equal to 2. However, there's a huge problem. The problem is when the particle reaches this specific coordinate, it is instantly vaporized and vanishes into space completely. And in effect, you can no longer measure the temperature. To describe this scenario, what you can do instead is that you look at the data before it disappears. As we can see in this table, as the value of x approaches x equals 2, the value of the function approaches 1. And to strengthen your experiment, you place an identical particle at x equals 4. And notice that its data still suggests that the value of the temperature as it gets closer to 2 is 1. It brings us to the core concept of calculus known as limits, where the following notation is widely used. This reads as the limit of f of x as x approaches a equals L, where L here is described as the limiting value of your function, or simply call this one limit. Now, if we try to look at our previous example, the data shows that the limiting value of your function L is equal to 1 as x approaches this value of a, which is 2. Let us suppose that the function which describes the trajectory of this path is given. Now, instead of creating table of values, you can simply substitute x equals 2. And what you can obtain in this particular case is the limiting value of f, which is 1. Let us now look at a function at which the limiting value depends on which side x is taken. If we take the limit of this function at x equals 2, based on the table, you can observe that as we approach x equals 2 from the left side, the value of the function tends to approach 1. And if we approach x from the right side, the value of the function tends to approach 1.2. In this case, we will use the following notation. The notation for one-sided limits. This reads as the limit of f of x as x approaches a from the left is L, where this notation is used for its counterpart on the right side. And based on our previous example, the limit of f of x as x approaches 2 from the left side is 1. And the limit of f of x as x approaches 2 from the right side is 1.2. Now, if a is a real number, this limit is equal to L if and only if this right and left limits are equivalent and both equal to L. And for the case where L is finite, then we say the limit exists. And in this particular example, since the left and right limits are not equivalent, it follows that the limit doesn't exist. If you are currently taking calculus, then you will encounter these two terms. Now, what's the difference? Limits at infinity talks about x approaching positive or negative infinity, while infinite limits talks about the limiting value L, which is either equal to positive or negative infinity. Let us now understand the nature of this concept starting with infinite limits, which can be seen in the behavior of this function. If we set this denominator to 0, this gives us the vertical asymptote, which is x equals 1. Let us now observe what happens if we approach this value from the left side. We can see that as x gets closer to 1 from the left side, the value of f of x tends to approach towards negative infinity. On the other hand, if we approach x from the right side, the function f of x tends to increase without bound, and hence it is heading towards positive infinity. And this implies the limit of f of x does not exist. Now, if we consider the absolute value of this function, the left and right limits will now coincide. This implies the limit of the function is positive infinity. However, since this is not finite, we can still say the limit does not exist. Let us now look at this function at infinity. Replacing f by y and solving for the variable x, you will have this simplification. By equating the denominator to 0, we will obtain the horizontal asymptote of the function, which is y equals 0. For this limit, as we approach the value of x towards negative infinity, notice that the value of the function tends to approach the horizontal asymptote. Hence, the limit of f of x as x approaches negative infinity is 0. And f follows the same behavior as we approach x towards positive infinity. Therefore, the limits at infinity for this function exist. In our next video, we will cover different techniques in solving actual limits. And if you want more of the content like this, subscribe and see you in our next video.